So the law of the environment says that growth happens or growth thrives in a conducive environment. Take for example a seed. There are factors that constitute the growth of a seed. One is warmth, moisture, air, sunlight, and a good environment or a good soil. So a good soil is to the good growth of a seed, as a good environment is to the good growth of any human being. And so for you to grow, you must make sure that the environment in which you are living in is very conducive. It can, one, support your growth, and number two, it can sustain your growth. And so in growing, it is very much important that not only do we focus on our mindset, which is of importance, but we should also focus on our environment, because our environment also affects our progress. It also affects our rising and also our falling. Now, consider this example. Consider a man who has the minds of the great minds in this world, like Pablo Picasso, like Michelangelo, like Da Vinci, like Albert Einstein. However, this person is living in the confines of a prison. What will happen? Even though the person has the mind of these great minds, he can only do as much, because he is what? Confined in a prison. That is what an environment can do to a man, irrespective of the potential, irrespective of the mindset and the attitude that one has in regards to problems and challenges. If the environment is not conducive, it will become very arduous for the person to grow and also to sustain the growth. So it is very much important that our environment is important to us, so that we may be able to grow and grow well, and also to sustain our growth, which is also very important. Now, in order for us to grow in the environment, first of all, we need to assess our environment. And in the assessment of the environment, it makes us aware and conscious of the fact that our environment either would help us to grow, or our environment will knock us down. Consider a boy who is living in a neighborhood full of drunkards or full of weed smokers. The chances of the boy becoming a weed smoker or a fraudster is very high. Another child who is born in an environment that supports education is very much has a very high chance of going to school, because that environment supports education, and that environment has certain resources and certain things put in place to support and to sustain education in that place. That is why that is why assessing your environment is much important. Another example, if you want to become a basketball player, a world-renowned basketball player, and you are living in an environment that doesn't support the growth of it, nor has the resources to sustain it, it will become very arduous. Your growth will slow down, and it will become very difficult on your path to even become the world best basketball player that you would ever dream of. That is why I have noticed that in all great men, they either moved from their current place that they were living to another place. That is why I love what McCain said, that the first step to success is taken when you don't become captive of the environment you first found yourself in, which is very true, because the moment that you become captive of the environment that you find yourself in, it will become very arduous. It will be self-defeating for you to grow beyond the limits and beyond the boundaries of the environment. And so you have to move away from your environment. That is why when God wanted to bless Abraham, he told Abraham to move from the land that he was to the land that he was going to show him. And so the environment is much more important. That is why all great men that I have researched and have studied, I have realized that one point in their life, they had to move from the confines of the environment where they were birthed to another place that could grow them, and also to sustain the level of growth and the level of things that they wanted to achieve. And so another example that I want to talk about is Mohamed Kudus. That is a Ghanaian footballer that has recently come into the limelight. Mohamed Kudus, when he was in Ghana, he was playing his best football in Ghana, but nobody knew about him. I even didn't know about Mohamed Kudus until he went to Netherlands and played for Ajax, and he went to UK to play for West Ham. Now Mohamed Kudus is everywhere. That he even scored 2 goals during one of the matches in the AFCON for Ghana, which shows that the moment that he moved from the environment that he was in into a different environment that was able to sustain his growth and even to grow him, he became very much respected. He became very much well-grounded in the thing that he wanted to become. And so I say to people that mindset is very much important, as much as the environment in which you find yourself in, because the environment has influence. I believe that the environment has 50% influence in either you become a success or you become a failure. And so the first thing is that you need to assess your environment to know whether it can support you or it cannot support you. If it cannot support you, you make choices and decisions that it would help you to grow. If the environment can support you, you also make decisions and choices that can also allow you to grow, because a seed can only grow as much as the soil can support it. If the soil is deprived of fertilizer and other minerals that can support it, the seed can only grow as much as it is, as much as the minerals and the fertilizers are available in the soil for its growth. The next thing that you have to do after assessing your environment is that, secondly, you need to change yourself and you have to change your environment. You have to make the conscious, deliberate decision to change yourself and also to change your environment. This is important because sometimes we try to change the environment in which we are in because probably we are seeking for greener pastures. But remember that a change in environment without a change in mindset and attitude is futile, because you can be in the best of places, for instance, like the state or in Dubai, but if you have the corrupted kind of mindset, it will be very difficult for you to grow. It will be very difficult for you to achieve anything worthwhile in your life. And I know there are people in Dubai and people in America who are right now suffering. They are living in penury. Yes, it is not a matter of the environment. That is why I said that the environment and the mindset goes hand in hand. And so if you change your environment without changing yourself, it becomes, your growth and your success becomes slowed and also very difficult and very arduous and tiresome and laborious in you growing. It is even close to impossible for you to grow because your environment has changed, but you yourself, you have not changed. Although there are certain factors that would automatically cause you to grow, because if you put a seed in any soil that has certain minerals, it is likely to grow. But for the seed to continue to grow and even for the soil to sustain its growth is another thing. That is why the changing your environment is not the only thing. You need to change yourself. Now, if you change yourself without changing the environment, it is also a wrong move, in that changing yourself, you are also limited by the confines and the boundaries of your environment. And that's why I use the example of the great man who had the great minds of all these philosophers, like Aristotle, like Plato, like Da Vinci, like Michelangelo, like Pablo Picasso. However, he is confined in a prison. He can only grow and succeed as much. However, this third person changes himself, at the same time changes his environment. The growth and the success of this person becomes greatly accelerated. He moves at high speed because he has changed his mindset, he has changed his attitude towards challenges and towards other things, and the environment too is helping him to grow and also to sustain him. So it is very much important that we combine these two together. We change ourselves and also we change the environment, which together concurrently can help us to grow as faster and as quicker as possible. Now, after you have assessed yourself and you have changed yourself and the environment, you also have to remember that you have to change the people that you associate yourself with. It is very much important, because the people that we spend our time with, according to social psychologist Dr. David McClellan of Harvard, he asserted that the people that we habitually spend our time with, which are known as the reference group, they determine as much as 95% of our success or our failure in life. They determine as much as 95% of our success or our failure in life, which is very alarming and also very intriguing, in that the people that we spend our time in, as one other sage man said, that we are the average of the 5 people that we spend our life with. And another sage man also said that we are the same today and in 5 years' time, except for 2 things. 1, the books we read, and 2, the company that we keep. And so the people we associate ourselves with have the greatest, they have the greatest influence in our life. That is why the wisest and the richest man in the Bible, King Solomon, outrightly stated that, walk with the wise and you become wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm. So historically, biblically, even in our contemporary world, it is proven that the people that you spend your time with have something to do with your rising or knocking down in life. Now, after you have watched the people that you are spending much time with, the next thing that you have to do is that you have to keep in mind that whoever you are, whatever you do, people will criticize and persecute you. Now, you are living with a group of people, a group of boys, or a group of ladies in your neighborhood, and all of a sudden they've seen that you have changed. Now you have become serious with life and you want something from life. You have become so serious and you have put your life in your hands. One of the things that right now I have noticed is that the moment that you put your life in your hands, you don't need any permission from anybody. You take your life in your hands, you take responsibility for yourself, you take your life into accountability, and you move. You don't need any permission from yourself. You don't need any permission from anyone. You have to give yourself permission. Look in the mirror and tell yourself permission given. Because when we are in school and when we are in class, and when we want to maybe go out and urinate or go out to do something, most of the times we ask, not even most of the times, always we are asked and we are being taught and trained to ask for permission from the teacher before we go out or do anything. So as a result, as we are growing up, we have grown with the mindset that we need to ask for permission from the people around us in order for us to do anything. But the moment that you take your life in your hands, you don't need permission from anyone. And so I like what Ralph Waldo Emerson observed. He said that whatever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you that you are wrong. There are always difficulties arising which tempt you to believe that your critics are right. To map out a plan of action and follow it to the end requires the same courage as the soldier needs. Peace has its victories, but it takes brave men to win them. And as Les Brown is famously known for, that someone's opinion of you should not become your reality. And so remember that whenever you decide to change yourself, to change your environment, to want better things for yourself, there are always people who will tell you that you are wrong. There are always people who will try to criticize you. There are always people who will try to persecute you and say all sorts of things for you. That is why one of the most famous quotes by Theodore Roosevelt, famous poem that I love by Theodore Roosevelt, that is the man in the arena. The man in the arena. It is like, I love it so much. In the end, and he says that you have to like persevere so that your end will not be among those timid souls who knew neither defeat nor victory. And so you have to know that whatever be the case, you have to necessarily put in all your best, because criticism will come, persecution will come. Even our Lord Jesus Christ was even persecuted and criticized. Prophet Muhammad was criticized. A whole lot of messiahs of this human world were criticized and persecuted. How much more you and I? You will be persecuted. But the moment that we take full responsibility of our life, we have to have it in the back of our mindset that criticism will come, persecution will come. I am prepared for whatever it is ahead of me. And